This is for all of you dreamers out there. Sit back, relax, open up your minds, and get ready to feel the vibes.
Are you ready for a podcast that blends mystery, crime, and a whole lot of laughs? Then look no further than The Fat Man Live and Snakes and the Fat Man, the podcast that keeps you on the edge of your seat, all while never taking itself too seriously. Join Chris Heaton as he dives deep into the reptile world with his unique blend of humor, insight, and, well, let's just say, colorful commentary. No topic is off limits. The Fat Man himself will bring you the latest from the world of reptiles and downright bizarre, all with a signature humor. So grab your headphones, your sense of humor, and get ready for a ride of your life. It's Fat Man every other Sunday and Snakes and the Fat Man on the 1st and 15th of every month. Only on the Fat Man Nation.
I'm sticking around. Yeah, you know, I'm sticking around even though I don't do this shit anymore. But I love promoting other people.
This is why you need DNA shed testing in your reptile game. Unlock your reptile's genetic secrets with Charlie Williams at Grey Rider Reptiles and ShedTesting.com. Charlie's passion for reptiles is unmatched, and he's bringing his expertise right to your home with ShedTesting.com. It's a game changer for breeders and pet owners alike. Simply collect, package, and send off your reptile's shed. Easy, right? Within days, get accurate genetic insights that can revolutionize your breeding season. Whether you're a ball python breeder or a curious pet owner, ShedTesting.com offers fast turnaround times and reliable results. Plus, with Charlie's vast network and partnerships, you're not just getting a service, you're joining a community. So what are you waiting for? Visit ShedTesting.com now and take your breeding game to the next level. Charlie Williams and Grey Rider Reptiles are ready to help you.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Sky's the Limit podcast. We already done rolled our sponsorship videos, so we're going to go ahead and start with the shout outs tonight. And first off, we have Sammy. What's going on, Sammy? How you doing tonight? Then second, we have our boy Sean Fuller. He is second. SJS Exotics. How you doing, James? How you? Let's see who else we have here. Brad, of course, double dipping. And that looks like everyone right now. Well, tonight we have a really special guest, guys. I'm really excited for it. We're going to kind of dive deep into how he won the 15 minutes of lame. So with further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Snakes and the Fat Man gives to you the winner of the 15 minutes of lame, presented by the Sky's the Limit Network, Charlie Ryan. What's going on, buddy?
Mic is muted. Oh, there we go. I was just talking about how much I loved your introduction, man. My mic was muted.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know where Mike went to. He kind of dipped out on us, huh? Well, that's all good. So we're going to go ahead and start off then with Brad. If you want to go ahead and start off with your questions.
What got you into wanting to do the ball pythons?
All right, what got me into wanting to do the ball pythons? So, man, I think it was like just barely pre-COVID. My wife and daughter kind of started talking about wanting to get a pet snake. My wife had a friend who had gotten one. They were gaining interest quickly in it. They were FaceTiming with her a lot, seeing the snake. They were looking up snakes, watching stuff on YouTube while I was at work. So they wanted to get one. I had a ball python as a pet, like probably in like 8th grade, maybe going into high school, like back when it was mostly just normals. I'm not even sure we were doing albinos yet back then. If so, it would have been really expensive probably. So I was like, yeah, I had a pet snake back when I was a kid. That'd be cool. So they grabbed a corn snake, and then I got jealous and I wanted my own. So I grabbed one that was a different color morph, and then found out Morph Market existed today and all the crazy stuff that you can go down the rabbit hole there, seeing all the different colors and stuff. At that point we were full-blown kind of in the YouTube phase of the addiction. We were watching Snake Discovery all the time and seeing all, then found Billy, right, and watching all the mutation creation. He was putting out a video every single day, him and Austin just running around with the camera in the old shop. Just started seeing all the different things you could make and all the hype around making all the different combos with ball pythons. And then, that was it from there. It was just picked up 2, and two turned to another. The next pickup was 4. And then it was like a breeder adult pair was the next pickup after that. And then it was within a short couple of months, there was a clutch, and then it was 120 or something like that. So
yeah, just how you said it, it does. You buy one and you're like, oh, okay. One turns into the next 4 purchases. And hey,
Yeah.
One good thing about it though is, like they say, if you do reptiles, you ain't got money for drugs. So hey,
that's fair.
Right.
You find once you get the hang of the first couple too, you're like, oh, this is like, you feed them once a week, and I have to grab, like, I take a glove, I pick up a poop, I spot clean one spot once a week, maybe every 2 weeks.
Yep.
This isn't bad. So you're like, I could do more, and then you wake up with 120, you're like, feeding day's terrible. What is this? You're like, how did I get here?
Right.
Yeah. Well, the next question was going to be, who was your biggest influencer to, that you watched to get into learning about ball pythons, or any snakes that, you may have as pets or anything like that. And you kind of answered that one already by, saying you watched Snake Discovery there.
Yeah.
And then the next question, if money wasn't a problem, what is one morph that you would really want to adventure down the rabbit hole with?
Oh man, I'm liking some of these things that are coming around right now that definitely money would be an issue on, and they're hard to get a hold of. I'm looking at like the Bambino is interesting, although I tend to stray more recessive side, so maybe like a Tornado, something like that, if money really wasn't an issue. I think that not like there hasn't been kind of these granite look genes before, but these are pretty strong and pretty influential on pattern too, not just disrupting and making kind of a granite effect. They're kind of really blowing pattern up too. So probably something in that wheelhouse if money wasn't an option.
The Twister would be pretty neat. Twister is a pretty neat morph there. I definitely can't wait to see more of, more morphs mixed with it, stuff like that, see what it does. It definitely is a pretty neat gene. Well, and that's all I got, Brian. So I had 3, and he answered my second one without even asking.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dive right into the 15 minutes of lame thing with you, Charlie. Now, I know I was joking around with the whole clickbait, did you cheat or anything? We all know you didn't cheat and that. But what was your strategy going into the 15 minutes of lame? Because it really seemed like by the end there was a strategy there.
Yeah, there was a couple different pieces. One was that I went in early, and I tell people, I've said this a few times on the podcast since, I tell you, don't do it because Chris will probably get pissed and kick you out next year if you try it. But I started kind of early to try to be people's candidate, and in the top of people's mind before somebody else that they really like or knew could get in, right? Have them already kind of committed, have them already thinking about me, thinking I'm going to vote for him, I'm going to help. push content with him. The other big thing, the other couple big things I did is the collab stuff, right? So I tried to, and I could say it now, and genuinely, it's going to sound like a little underhanded now when I say it like this, but genuinely, I enjoyed actually working with everybody and doing the collabs. It was awesome. I'd actually like to keep doing more of that going forward. I do think it's awesome because you share the follower pool back and forth when you do a video together, right? So all their people see your stuff that might not have before, and yours. And we always have some overlap, right, with each other. If you go look at somebody else, and you can see how many people that, you know, are mutual followers, there's usually a ton of overlap, but there is an outside fringe that their people may not have seen you yet. So that's huge for each other. And then it's just fun too, and getting to know other people in the industry and develop those connections. But it was a part of the strategy too, especially if someone was a frequent poster and also a threat. I'm going to do videos with you to try to get in front of your people too. And to try to, like, if they weren't, there were threats who weren't posting as frequently, Darren, right?
Yes.
So people kept asking me after I did the one video on Darren, I got a lot of people asking, like, how come you're not doing like more stuff on that? Well, Darren wasn't really posting. So I was like, I'm going to just let him, if he's going to play back, I'm going to let him play back. Then I'm not going to, after a while, when he didn't really want to get in the videos, I'm not going to drag him out and give him the free publicity anymore. Like,
right.
So I just let it go. You know what I mean? So like I said, it might sound a little underhanded, but it also was all in good fun. I mean, I was trying to win. I'm naturally competitive. I don't know how not to try to, if I'm going to do something, I don't know how not to try to give it my all. I just don't know how not to. What would I say? The other the other thing was just getting kind of the other people sharing and posting. So I went on a slew of all the podcasters, and I've already been friends and developing relationships with them. I was firing off t-shirts to all of them, and the other thing was I didn't talk about that. So by the time the t-shirts hit and we're on everybody's YouTube, there wasn't enough time left in the contest for somebody else to go print t-shirts and get them out there. So
yeah, I was going to mention that. It's like every time I turned on somebody's YouTube, like I turned on Jeremy from Waffle More, he has the Reagan Renee shirt on. Turn on Keys, Reagan Renee shirt on. You know, I turned, it was like everywhere I turned, I was seeing your logo everywhere. I mean, I think I even seen your logo, your sticker in a urinal.
It was, yeah, absolutely. Somewhere in East Pennsylvania. My sticker's in the back of the
Like, do you know who put that there? Like,
I am 99% sure of who put that there. Yes, and he's actually he's as my daughter would call it, a frenemy. So
okay, yeah. Because I was just thinking, like, it's bad enough your sticker's there, let alone the person that had to put it there. You know,
Hey,
so,
you want to stick your hand in the urinal, but I think it was meant as a diss. I think it was ball busting though, like all in fun. But at the same time, I'm like, well, now everybody at this show that's gonna go is gonna be staring at my logo.
right.
So
I mean, it seemed like I said, it really seemed like there was a strategy behind it. I know during the competition, we really didn't talk strategies. I know I told you my strategy right before the debate because I wanted to, you know, let everybody know that, hey, I wasn't a complete dick like I was bringing it out to be. But I also noticed right before, like, maybe a half an hour before the voting actually ended, you came out with a reel showing off all of your banger material. And that was that part of that strategy to get them judges looking at your stuff right before they voted?
I had to try to get a judge, right? And I wanted, the timeliness of getting close to judges. So the flooding the market with the I was doing a story post every single day that made it as easy as possible to get to vote to. I made it a 2-click, and I said 2 simple clicks, like, because people don't want to be bogged down and go to a website and dig through stuff. They don't want to do all that. So I said, it's just 2 clicks. If you looked at the stories, every one of them told people how simple it was. You're going to click here, and then you're going to click one more thing to where my name is. I told them what number to scroll down to. I showed pictures of how to get to it to make it as simple so people could be as mindless as they could. So the flood it worked, right? The public vote I was jumped out pretty quick. I was pretty excited about that. There certainly was a fear after that there was a couple people I actually was more scared of that I thought were going to do better. And for some personal reasons, I know a few of them, they didn't get to get as involved as they would have liked.
Right,
Because I would have liked to seen them because I like them too. But, to name one, the most obvious one, I certainly had a fear of the Harbins, right? Being able to easily, and they were just as deserving and could have just as easily taken the win.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did know I had to swing. My strategy all along was, I was afraid of they also have some connections. They're in some of the same geographical areas. Some of the judges, they're in front of the judges more. So my strategy was get the popular vote, because then I got to pull like one judge a vote, and then maybe the tiebreaker, or maybe one judge goes me, one judge goes one judge goes Harbins, one judge goes Darren, or something like that. I'm like, I got to get one judge.
Right.
So yeah, that video was a huge part of that to show like. It was for two reasons. It was to show one, that it, not just a good reel maker and good at flooding the advertisements out there, right? That the collection I do feel is really serious and is built well to last. And then it was to hopefully get a judge to look at. There was a couple things I tried to do in there. I tried to up the camera quality going into it, the sound quality. I got like a mic, a camera, all this stuff got going before that. I looked at some of the stuff some of the judges do in their content and tried to model some of that. To get it, to be as appealing as I could to them. And so they'd look at it as somebody who could potentially be a peer, right? Because my thought was the judges are looking for that in that contest. I can tell you now, being part of like the alumni of it, if I'm ever asked to have the honor of being involved in voting, that's exactly what I'll be looking for. Somebody that I feel is going to be able to sit amongst the people who have won. So that was a big part of what that was. You're spot on. It was to get the judges' eyes on it and to get them bought into it, to say, yeah, this is somebody who we think could sit with us.
See, and I felt that there was a strategy behind it. Now, I think dogs. Besides that, sorry, dogs kind of got me lost on track. You're also now with the Fat Man doing a little sponsorship thing called Deeds Not Wars, or Deeds Not Words. Did you want to touch a little bit about that, or could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I can about it at this time. We've gotten a bunch of other companies. The first thing we did was got a whole bunch of other vets involved in the project too, and they've all put not just their name and their company logo, but they put some skin in the game. They've put donations in too. So we have this event that's coming up. We're going to kick it off on the I think the 14th or 15th at the Atlanta the Southeast Reptile Expo, Bob Vu's show down in the Atlanta area. So we've got a bunch of other vets that got in and sponsored this thing. We've got a bunch of other companies in the industry have already jumped in and we're partway to our goal already on what we were hoping to get donated. We haven't even launched yet because the people we've showed it to and given a sneak peek have jumped right in. So the gist of it is basically this. We're going to kick off this campaign. There's going to be some merch and stuff involved. I think some of the logo stuff you're seeing. Hey, you going to bed? Good night. Sorry about that. Gotta say good night. It's an important piece of the day. So we've got some merch that's going to be coming down. We've got a whole display we're going to be rocking out at the show with. Somebody asked me earlier about if I was going to Tinley. Actually, I think I'll be at Gettysburg this year because we're probably going to be set up with a booth there as well. We're going to be basically selling merch so you get something cool, and I think it looks kind of flashy. It's got this cool modified Fat Man logo with mine and Jay from Green Lines on there too, and a bunch of other names in the industry involved. We'll be basically selling this merch, but 100% of it, 100% of the proceeds from that is going to a veterans foundation that we really like and really believe in. It's actually kind of local to me, Jay, and Chris up here in the Northeast, and they take vets on they take vets on like excursions and stuff like that, people who are struggling and things like that, and first responders, I believe, as well. So it's a really cool, really good cause, grassroots. It's not going, no offense to like Wounded Warriors, I'm not saying this to bad mouth them, but some of the big companies, not big companies, but the big, even though nonprofits, when they get to a certain size, there's still a certain amount of the paper and the coffee bill that they have to pay for the offices and stuff, right? We wanted to hit something that's more grassroots. We're going to see a direct impact. So We'll go up there. The campaign will run. We might do it annually, it sounds like, but it's going to run for a limited time this year. You'll get a limited chance to get in and get the T-shirt and to put your donation in for it. And then it'll be kind of a different version next year if we do it again. I don't know what else I can really say about it right now, other than just keep an eye out. You're going to see all of a sudden content from me, Chris, Jay. You're going to see, I think, the foundation itself, the group up there in PA. You're going to see, I think they're going to start to put it on their content as well. We'll be cross-posting and tagging each other. I'm pretty excited about it, man. It's going to be
awesome. It sounds like it's going to be epic.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's got a whole full head of steam before we've even launched. I can't believe some of the big names that jumped in and have put in substantial donations to get it rolling too. It's really cool.
So now I'm going to go into some of the questions I actually have written down. What do you believe sets Reagan Renee apart from other breeders in the industry?
Oh man, that's the toughest question you guys have asked me. That's the toughest question I've been asked in a while. What sets us apart? Look, it's tough. I'm disappointed in myself for not having a better answer prepared for this, because if you can't tell people what sets you apart, that's kind of an issue. What I'll say is this. I think that I'm very forward focused on stuff, and I'm not the only one. That's why I'm struggling with what sets me apart. There's people out there that are looking down the road at some of the things, the same projects I am. But you won't see, I'll say it sets me apart from many, but not from everyone, right? There are people who are doing this. You won't see much production for production's sake out of me. You won't see me make a batch, and it's no offense to people who do that. There's people who grind shows and sell pets, and it's perfectly fine business model. It's just not mine.
Right.
So you won't see me do a clutch of clowns or even combo clowns as inventory for sales or for show, for stock for a show table or something like that. I'm only interested in putting a pairing together if there's something I think that's helping me, even if not immediately. It's not a groundbreaking animal, but if it's setting me up to make something down the road. It's only if it's a part of building to something better consistently. So.
All right. And now,
I can give.
How important is social media in promoting your business, and how do you engage with your online audience?
Yeah, social media is a huge part. I mean, the biggest thing I do is Instagram. I just share the animals I'm excited about when I go through the rack typically. Sometimes I'll share the most exciting animal out of a clutch that's getting ready to hit, or any exciting animal out of a clutch that's getting ready to hit morph market or something like that, because I do have to push some, and I have to force myself. It's not natural. I'm not a salesman by nature or by trade. So I will put an exciting animal out of a clutch to try to push people to go look at the morph market clutch I'm just posting, my most recent upload or something. But that's the biggest format. I did start a vlog in January after in the new year, and it's my goal for this year to get one out per calendar month. I'd like to do 2 a month if I can, but only if I have really content that I feel like is worth it. But I'm gonna kick off the YouTube channel. I'm gonna run a vlog at least 1 a month. I'll be working tonight after we're done on the next episode 2. We do try to entertain a little bit. The reels in the competition, they weren't original to our kind of business model. They weren't, but they were seemingly, it was interesting at first, a little unnatural to us, doing kind of skits and posting stuff where we show ourselves, not just snakes. But they are natural to us in a way that's how Reagan and I are at home anyway. Like, we just goof off and come up with funny stuff to do and say and mess with each other and throw puns at each other and stupid jokes and stuff all the time. So that is in some of the Instagram stuff. I've been on a little bit of a hangover since the competition and then the holidays, and then we had some crazy family stuff go on the last couple of weeks too. So I was slower on social media.
Yeah, and sorry to hear about that too. Sorry,
yeah,
I am sorry to hear about that.
All good. But we're getting back in the grind now, and the vlog is going to have some of the same stuff. We're working at least a dad joke in once or per episode. We've got a little section her and I shot a skit on that we have kind of recurring sections each time, a little bit of some comedy sketch stuff, but they have so I guess what I'm trying to talk about is we have a section called Reagan's Outrageous Deals, and we had a whole skit that went into setting that up, and now each episode I'll have some on sale animals, just cool deals for people who are following closely and stuff like that. Not even necessarily the cheap stuff I'm trying to push out. that we'll have every episode. But that's how we interact mainly. I mean, otherwise it's I got a pretty good group of people now that I'm DMing with pretty consistently. The Mutation Creation Patreon chat, pretty active in there, right? Sharing information with other people. So
Right. And now, can you share any advice on how to effectively market in a reptile breeding business? Because you do a lot of your sales online, because you don't do event shows yet, do you?
no, I don't vent shows, and actually, it was a big thing I fought with over the last year or so, and recently, through Chris's Patreon, got a chance to pick Justin's brain a little more than I normally get to. And from discussion with him, I think that it might not be for me. And so to your last question, how does this play a role in my business? It's everything. The advertising online is everything for me. It's how I make my sales, even if it's not just through Morph Market, it's through Instagram DMs and things like that. You're not supposed to sell on Instagram, but through DMs that people saw something on Morph Market, through, somebody saw something on Facebook, whatever. It's a huge part of it. Advice that I could give on it, the consistency. I noticed in the couple of weeks that I slowed down coming in the new year, it hurt. The numbers went down a little bit on just even how many people see or like a post, because the algorithm takes you out of kind of relevance. So, I mean, that's the biggest piece I'd give is the consistency. You want to do what you can within your budget to look as clean and professional as you can, but you also can't let that get in the way of getting out there. Right. So there's a point where you got to, so even with some of the, I feel like I've got decent camera quality, decent mic, I got some decent editing going on. Like if you check out the vlog and stuff like that, even there, I have a ton of reservations. I have a ton of feelings about how it looks, and it's not quite what I wanted. And it gets to a point where you got to tell yourself, you know what? I just got to put this out there. Let it roll. Right. I'll clean it up and do better next time. Otherwise, you let that kind of perfect be the enemy of good, and you don't get something just out there in front of people that otherwise might have been good enough to get you some attention. And you keep practicing and keep honing your craft, keep pursuing improvement. So.
Sean has a question. He asks, Charlie, what is your favorite thing to do when you're doing your marketing, as marketing can sometimes be tedious?
Man, it is tedious, right? Editing a video is time consuming, sitting there clipping every little piece off the end and then saying, okay, now how do I lace this into the next section? How do I make it kind of fit as you're putting a video together, or even figuring out what hashtags am I putting in this post? What do I think I want to say to get people's attention? Probably my favorite part of it actually has become like the stuff I was just talking about, kind of the goofing off. So, which goes into kind of the last question too. The other thing I'd say is you do have to find a way a little bit. And it took me 4 or 5 years to find it. I wanted to be looked at as a serious business. I wanted to be taken serious. I wanted to have a professional appearance. But even there, even in that space, we're all humans. And people do relate a little bit. So you need at least a little bit of letting yourself come through. So probably my favorite part is the goofing off. When I watch back and I watch a section that her and I did that I do think is like turned out how we wanted it and is funny, I'm watching it back a couple of times, not just to tweak it, but also because I'm like sitting there like chuckling to myself, like, oh, that turned out good. Oh my goodness. I still laugh. The outrageous deals part I was just talking about. She threw this dance down. It took us a couple takes of different. I'm like, well, put the glasses on like I had for the debate. She's got a pair of white ones. I'm like, put those on. And then she was like, we never talked about her dancing, but when she does like yells at the outrageous deals, she dropped this dance that I like every time I see it. Today I was editing a video. She was down here next to me coloring while I was doing it. And I had left it in the middle of my cap cut. So it kept accidentally popping up over what I was trying to edit in.
Right.
And I was like, you keep interrupting me. And she does a dance and I would just bust up. I'd have to move it 3 more minutes over as I continue to fill in content. But
that's awesome.
That's probably my favorite part.
Then from a financial and operational standpoint, what steps have you taken to ensure that the sustainability and profitability of your breeding operations?
Yeah, great question. One of the big things I did that's one of the biggest financial kind of ways that we turned the page here and got to actually where we just in the last about year became profitable was adding rodents. And I fought it as long as I could. And what I mean is, so at first, if you watch early videos of me on some people's podcasts and stuff like that, I was feeding all frozen. the time commitment is something, and Adam from Proper Royals does a really good, you got to dig back. There's a really good video on this where he does the breakdown of like, he does like the cost benefit exercise to at what point do you break even where your time maybe is more valuable not doing rodents, especially if you can pick up, say, overtime at work or something, versus the rodents are the most time consuming part of the operation by far. Every day they need something. And then there's a whole, like, not a whole, but a half day of cleaning once a week too. Right. But man, to get down to $150 worth of rat food and $50 worth of bedding in a month versus a couple $100 on rats. You know what I mean? That was one of the biggest financial kind of game changers. And then if not for shed testing, which also advances me really fast in projects, that became my next highest bill, the shed testing. If not for shed testing, man, I'd be blown out of the water on profit margin, but I am spending a considerable amount on shed testing right now. And so that's probably the next step for me, is to continue to just say, cycle out the double hets, right? And to just continue to replace with a visual with a het, or even a double visual if it's attainable and I can afford it. Just to have less misses, less testing, less other animals to feed that aren't really critical to the project. So I find myself slimming the whole collection to a degree down. Now, if I could afford 10 double visuals, then it wouldn't necessarily be slimmed down. So it's not slimmed down by intention of keeping the number down, but I find that that's between the budget and trying to keep the margin up. That's where it's taking me.
Okay. So, all right. And then my last question, if you watch my podcast, my last questions are usually a little bit more lighthearted, more funny. So for the last question I have, if you could inherit any of the ball python traits, what trait would that be and why?
If I could inherit it?
Yeah.
Man, that smelling in stereo is an interesting one, man. I don't know. Right. Or the ability to, so that's actually a fun question. So smelling in stereo is cool because the same way we hear, right? If you could just like sniff and be like, oh, this thing is over here. Like, where's the food truck at? Oh, it's this way. Where's
That's kind of like me because I can't see. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. On the other hand, the opposite vein, man, being able to go 3 months without having to eat and just slow your metabolism down is a pretty nice little thing to have in your pocket too.
Or having the infrared vision, being able to have the night vision type deal.
The heat vision,
yeah. See, now I'm surprised because I honestly thought you were going to go with the double hemipenes.
No. No, one's enough, and one got me in enough trouble in my life, probably. So I don't think two's necessary.
Right. So, Mike, do you have any questions for him?
Yeah, I got a few questions. You said you don't been any shows currently right now?
Nope.
Do you have any displays, or what's some of the factors if you're looking to get displays, like quality, durability, heat, stuff like that?
Yeah. All right. So let me back up a step to shows. My premise right now is rather than pack up and go do a show, it's not small per se. I'm sitting somewhere between 120, 130 animals at a time right now as kind of clutches come and then animals sell out. So I typically don't have a ton of inventory. This is the most I've ever carried at once. I'm in like the 30s now. It's the most I've ever carried at any given time. So even until now, it wasn't really even an option to go sit at a show. I wouldn't have been able to fill probably enough displays. Also, they tend to be a lot of stuff. You go look at I'm continually going back to the kind of business model questions. I'm continually trying to drive my average dollar value per snake as I look at my Morph Market dashboard up, right? So I don't think a lot of my stuff, and I have a lot of double, triple hets and stuff, which doesn't mean a ton to people at shows. You'll get maybe other vendors there would be interested potentially, or you get a couple breeders that come to visit friends that might, but I think a lot of people that come through a show, right, oftentimes are looking for something that's really eye-catching. So that's a part of that decision as well. So with that, I would say if I was doing shows, though, I mean, obviously they have to be functional. I wouldn't necessarily go completely for form over function, But man, I would certainly want something to look good. So probably the displays themselves, I'm not sure how much to like the layman walking through versus another vendor, how much visually you can tell a difference. But I do think the lighting, I do think that just the cloth under it and around it, the substrate you put in it, your banners, I do think there's a lot of ways to pop there. It's another part of what goes into my decision not to do it. The overhead to lay in what I would want for a show display is a pretty substantial investment. I mean, I would be looking at, wanting a top of the line banner, top of the line tablecloth, like, you know what I mean? I'd want really nice lights. And I think there's good deals on lights, but
yeah, that's understandable. With, like you were saying, a lot of people, they do more online sales than, in-person sales like that.
Yep.
So what's some of the projects that you're looking forward to in the next 3 years?
Oh, projects I'm looking forward to the next 3 years. Sure. I'm starting to get closer and closer to opportunities to hit. I've made one DGG Stripe Krypton visual. I've not done the DGG Stripe Clown yet, although it's similar odds to hit both. I'd like to produce at least one of those, although Krypton's gotten me more. I was initially pursuing that, and then I found a love for some pretty cool stuff I've been able to find Krypton can do that I think not a lot of people have even taken notice of yet. So I'd like to see some of my best Kryptons that I made actually aren't even in DG yet. So probably the most exciting thing for me right now is taking a few of those that I've hit that I think just look spectacular already and getting them into the visual DG now too.
That sounds awesome.
So that's probably the next thing I'm most excited about.
All right, for new breeders that could be watching the show, and if you had $5,000 budget and you had to pick 2 females and 1 male, what would you recommend that they would get into besides stuff that they like?
Ooh, $5,000 budget. I don't know.
I know it's not much of a budget, but
yeah. I'll tell you what. If I had just to go to 2 animals right now, $5,000 budget, I think you could actually probably get a DG Clown female that's almost breeder size, and then I'd probably go look at some kind of an exciting or even DG cryptic female, I should say, that's probably even cheaper than that. Maybe 2. So probably do something like that. Try to put together 2 DG cryptic females, and then I'd get a clown I was excited about with a gene like a stranger or even like if you could find I don't know if it's attainable. No, probably like clown het paint or something that's probably going to blow your whole $5,000 budget. Maybe you take a gamble and go with with testing right now, you go with like a cool, you go with I think I've seen some decent couple $1,000 like paint males, or you go with like a combo double het paint clown or something and go straight to like a DG cryptic, 2 DG cryptic girls and a double het paint clown male. Yeah, because you have a chance of hitting some cool Kryptons that would be het for DG. So right off the bat, you got some Krypton het for DGs that could come out, and then there's a chance of dropping of them being het paint too. And I think the test, if not out yet, is coming soon. So you'd be able to probably cherry pick a couple either triple het clown or cryptic DG paints, right? Which I think has a ton of value right now. If you had something like that even going on the market, I think you'd clean up. But I think it'd be better to keep it in your rack, honestly. But man, if you could put together a couple holdback females, 3 holdback females that are in the DG paint clown or DG paint cryptic, 3 of those in the rack in 3 years, I think you'll be really happy.
Do you work with the Sunset gene at all?
I don't. Man, I want to get really excited about Sunset. I see some stuff. If I was still working my candy stuff heavier, I probably would play with Sunset because I think like the Ultramel Sunsets, things like that, I think those look phenomenal. I do think we're going to find, as people get deeper into it, it'd be a guess. I'm not in the project. I haven't worked it, but I do think some DG Sunset stuff is going to start to surprise people eventually. I know that people weren't that wild with the first couple, but I bet you they age into it really nice. So I don't work Sunset though, but it is. I do think it's an interesting gene. I think there's a good space for it. I think it'll be.
I know.
Sunset hater.
I'm starting to work with try to work with Sunset clown stuff, and possibly put inside stuff. I know an older Gene Champagne too. Like I said, I can't see very well. I'm about 90% blind. and I've been talking to a few different people to see what it would do to the champagne gene. To put Sunset with
Yeah, that would be
champagne.
nice.
It's interesting. Champagne's got some silver tones and stuff, but then you have like your mimosas and stuff, right? Which is what, a champagne hypo or something, is something in that
Yeah.
range. Maybe if you
Yeah.
went there with Sunset or something, you might get some really cool oranges,
Mhm.
some cool like yeah, that'd be interesting.
So,
You got to
Yeah,
add your
definitely.
pattern. You'd have to play for me. I'd have to play with stuff that's known to bring some pattern back with champagne
yeah.
though. So I think I think Enchi does it. I don't know if Leopard does, but stuff like that.
We got some questions here in the chat. What is the different color tags in the back for?
All right. Awesome. So the pins are girls that I'm monitoring for their past pre-lay shed. So I'm watching them either to see if they're going to ovulate soon, or I'm watching them to lay. So I've got probably about 5 clips up going for that. And then the red tags are a separate set of tags. Everybody's got the same like QR code tags from Husbandry Pro. Also go to my Instagram, check out my link. I'm a Husbandry Pro partner. I get you a 60-day free trial, get you started. I can help out if you have any questions. But so these are my Husbandry Pro tags. Had to plug that. The reds though are a separate set I keep for males, so that I don't, so that I both do and don't open tubs when they're in with a female. So if there's a red tag, it's a male with a female. And so that, like I said, it's so that I peek to see if they're locked, but also so I'm not opening it when I don't want to and disturbing. So if I'm going through and doing cleaning and stuff, I'll skip those.
All right. And then the next question they got is, where are you located at?
Yeah, I'm up in the Northeast. I'm in New Jersey. So.
All right. And
Semper
then,
Fidelis Exotics too. That's cool. That's a I'm assuming a Marine there. It looks like an Eagle anchor. So that's my people right there.
then Sean also says, do you have a name for your project yet?
I don't. I thought I did, and then somebody in the UK already had a snake named what I wanted to name my project. So I was really feeling GoldenEye, and I'm a moderate or a passive James Bond fan. I'm not somebody who's up on the lore and all that, but GoldenEye stood out to me with my favorite Krypton that I hit is like really bright yellows and golds and stuff like that. Okay. So I thought that was a cool name, and then somebody reminded me that there's a guy who made some crazy combo. Blackhead Enchi champagne something or other in the UK that they called the GoldenEye. So I don't know. I haven't landed quite on the right name for the project yet.
Did you serve? I may have missed that earlier. I was in the Army, and I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, that's Sean asking if you served in the military.
Yeah, I did. I was a Marine. That's why I was shouting out our guy with the Semper Fidelis name there.
And what was your ending rank when you got out?
Yeah, I was a sergeant when I got out at E5, if somebody's trying to translate to whatever that is in other branches. So.
Okay.
What was your MOS?
I did. So when I went in, I was on a contract where you did security forces for the first couple of years, and then you dropped to regular infantry. So I was a 8152, and then I was an infantry rifleman. So, but I did a little bit of some other stuff with that. So I added a extra MOS and then another just kind of a billet that I did. So I was a martial arts instructor as well for the last couple of years that I was in, and then I was I did not just forward observer, but I was not a JFAC. A lot of times when people talk about what I'm about to talk about, I think of JFACs, which I think are like officers and stuff like that. But I did a forward observation program where we were trained to do not just like artillery and mortars, but then also rotary and fixed wing aircraft and even naval surface fires. So I did forward observation for a little bit too. So marking targets. Yeah.
Awesome.
And out of the whole time that you were serving and everything, what is one of the funniest stories that you're able to tell?
One of the funniest stories I'm able to tell? Sure. So on my way home from Baghdad, my platoon, which is about four groups of 15. So what's that? 45 people, right?
Right.
They basically split us in half. So the next group shows up to relieve you. And you do shadowing, right? Which is, we use that term in a lot of different things in different industries, but they follow along with you for 2 weeks while you're working. And then you switch over, they're working, and you're just standing over their shoulder watching them as they get used to the atmosphere and the security operation we were doing. So when we were partway into that, they sent 2 of our squads to Baghdad International Airport to wait there to get established, to get our flight set up and wait there for the rest of the group to come and join us to fly home. And while we were there, we were in these big tents that house, they just have rows of medical cots. They house, 30 to 50, 60 people at a time in them. And we would sit in there and just like play poker and stuff like that. Well, one way or another, for stuff that I can't necessarily say on the internet, we came into an abundance of some alcohol. And we're a bunch of young Marines, and we were playing poker and stuff like that on medical cots, and we're drinking and stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's 60. I can't do math tonight. 4 by 15 is obviously 60.
Yeah.
So good call. Thank you. So about 30 of us are there. And my squad leader at the time, so he was a sergeant. I was still just a corporal at the time. So they sent him there in charge of us, and the bigwigs kind of stayed back in Baghdad. They didn't come join us at the airport yet. So he actually somehow or other found out that we had this alcohol, and then he wasn't. We didn't get in trouble. He was just mad that he hadn't been included all along. So he proceeded to drink with us, and he got way too. He overindulged. We'll just say that. Okay. And so then we get the idea. We're gonna go walk to the chow hall. We called it. Some people call it mess hall or whatever. Right. Get something to eat. So we go to get some dinner, and it's dark, and he's stumbling all over the place. We get some food, and we're walking back, and he starts to just get completely belligerent. And basically, we're his subordinates, right? We're basically carrying him, like, as he's like leaned on our shoulders, and he's just like, whatever. It's like what is that, from South Park or something? It's a quote where he's like, whatever, I do what I want, and he's just screaming this. We're like, we got to get you home to bed, and he's like, whatever, you don't know me. You don't know me. And so now, like, people are noticing as we're like trying to drag this guy back to the tent that he's like screaming and just being belligerent. And they're like, what's wrong with him? And there's like officers and stuff. We could get in big trouble. First for drinking, and second for being disrespectful. And he's like, you don't know me, like screaming at the officers and stuff. We're like, we got to get him to bed. He's freaking out. He's having some issues. So,
they have too much Jack Daniels.
Yeah, he had a little too much of it. It was actually some Captain Morgan I got a hold of. Somebody got a hold of, not me. So I was very much not the instigator in my younger days.
Like, he's having PTSD.
Yeah, we're like,
you gotta get him to bed.
He's just adjusting. He's just.
Where did you go to boot camp? Parris Island or?
Yeah.
Parris
Island. Yep, East Coast. Yep.
Wow, that's funny as hell though. And then he was your higher ranking officer, and he was getting hammered with the guy.
He had way too much. Yeah, we had to drag him home and tuck him in. And he was stumbling.
So, all right, we got a little bit more time left. Is there any animals that you might want to show off right now? Any ones that's behind you that is your favorite?
To show off. Yeah, my camera, I can grab some and try. My camera setup is really good for this. It's not so great for animals. We'll see. Like, it tends to try to focus and adjust, but we can see. I'll grab the one I was talking about earlier that was like one of my favorite Kryptons that had me excited about the project. She's got just this really unique head stamp, and she's got these cool like tiger stripes and stuff. Actually, it's doing a pretty good job of catching her colors and stuff like that, and her striping.
Oh, she is beautiful. Look at those
head stamp too. That's one of the things I think is most exciting about her.
Yeah, that head stamp is crazy.
So this is the one, like I said, that had me thinking I wanted to call it like the GoldenEye Project or something. This isn't even in the visual DG yet. So again, that's what I was referring to earlier, saying I can't wait to see this when the yellow pops more and it cleans it up a little more, and the blacks get more black and matte black. Oh man, and stay longer, right? Because I am a little afraid she's going to fade as she gets older. She hasn't yet, but. And
how old is she now?
She was hatched in late 23, so she's 2024. She's a little over a year, so not
Oh,
like late
yeah, no,
23.
she's holding her colors real nice. For being a year old, usually they start dulling out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful, Charlie.
Now, do you like to feed rats or do you like ASF, or do you prefer?
Yeah, great question. So my holdback stuff is all fed on ASF. If I go to put it on Morph Market, I'll start converting it back to rats. Hatchlings, I'll start them for the first like 3 to 5 meals on ASF, and then I'll switch over. I do have a couple Norwegians, like I have a big colony of Norwegians, and I'll switch them over to rat pups and stuff like that as they go up on Morph Market. But yeah, all my stuff is all on ASF, and man, they get big quick. I was measuring hatchlings the other day that I'm like, oh, this thing should still be a baby. Like, let me get a weight before I put it on Morph Market. And I was like, how's this 200 grams already? I'm just getting ready to list it on Morph Market, and it's already 200 grams.
Wow.
Yeah, they grow different on ASF.
And
better.
You're selling her, you said?
Yeah, okay. I got her. I kept her and 2 of her sisters, which are just different iterations of kind of almost the same thing. Oh, this one just shed too. So this is interesting. So for all the pastel haters, this is almost the same snake, but it's missing pastel.
Yeah, I honestly like it with the pastel in it.
Yep. This one is I believe Enchi Fire Spot Nose. Oh, that one had pastel and yellow belly. That other one, but I won't take. This is Enchi Fire Spot Nose. And oh no, she has yellow belly too. Enchi Fire Spot Nose.
Just no pastel.
Yeah, I gotta test her for yellow belly. I'm not sure that she is actually. We thought she was when she's a hatchling, but have you seen how the Spot Nose and Fire have made her look like you'd expect the Spot Nose and Fire?
Right.
Is she also het DG, or is she just?
She's het DG and G stripe, yeah. So these are,
I love my
double het. Oh yeah. Fine.
Say, man, we got some freaking bangers.
This is just a cool example. This is a red stripe, G stripe het clown girl. So that's just like
you say red stripe, G stripe?
Yeah,
red stripe, G stripe het clown.
That is beautiful. Look at those beautiful goldens coming in on her back.
Yeah, the red stripe really darkens up. It widens the stripe. It thins the blacks on the borders of the stripe, and it darkens up the sides. Really, it gives them a nice rich dark tones down the sides.
You start throwing that krypton into it, or the cryptic into it, starts bringing that side pattern back in. I noticed. You got
to put Spot Nose. Krypton's nice. It's starting to put pattern back. A little bit of maybe some Enchi can bring pattern back with the Spot Nose. You got to put stuff that brings a pattern. I do like more pattern on the side. She's a good building block, but ultimately the vision for me on this is the knock on G stripe. This is just for me a really good example of a G stripe, but this is the knock on the G stripe project too, right? Is that you wind up with a stripe and then you can do stripe in various colors. And it's not necessarily true. You can put a lot of pattern back on the sides of a G stripe. My best example of that is Locked Up right now. I might have a girl with some nice pattern on the sides. Let me see. Yeah. Not as good of an example. This is a DGG stripe girl that's got some patterning coming back on the sides. Some are more what I'm going for. See the tower, bringing the alien heads back. And that's the name of the game for me with anything I'm doing with a G stripe project is getting more back on the sides. And you said that you noticed the Spot Nose and the Cryptics doing that, or NP. Have you noticed any other genes that are bringing more pattern back? The red stripe can with other genes. Red stripe alone does what I just showed you, but red stripe and Spot Nose will start to do stuff like this. They'll start to bring this all back.
What type of racks do you have?
These are ARS. Everything.
ARS. Okay.
ARS, yeah. What else? This is cool. This is a good example of red. Oh, she's in shed, so you're going to get to see kind of the patterns. Oh, man, she's super blue. She's going to look like the hypo version. She's not, though. This is red stripe, Spot Nose, yellow belly, DG. She's het, G-stripe, cryptic, and pied.
Oh wow.
Holy, that's a mouthful. That is a
She's
mouthful.
yeah. You can check. I got her posted all over all my social media. You can see what her colors really look like when she's not in the shed. But like what I wanted to show is this is what the red stripe, spot nose, and yellow belly patterns do together. It's just awesome.
Yes, it is. It really, really brings out a lot of pattern. It really messes with it.
She's got like a pretty solid stripe going too.
Man.
She was blue.
Yeah,
Here's another to the color question. So I throw blue magnets on anything that's blue. So I remember to just go ahead and make sure the humidity is up.
How many clutchers are you looking to produce this year?
Shoot, if I'm already heading for 5 this early on in the year, well, there's one in the incubator already too, so 6 this early in the year. I did about 14, I think, last year. I won't be surprised if I do about maybe 15, 16, maybe a little more this year.
and what you got in the incubator right now?
Right now in the incubator, I have a red stripe, spot nose, yellow belly, DG, G stripe, het cryptic, to a pastel quad het, DG, G stripe, clown pie girl. So
wow.
that's the that is the pairing that produced my DG, G stripe Krypton. So let me see if he's not locked. I'll grab him. Yeah, he's not locked up. This is a pastel red stripe, yellow. This is the son to the one I just named. This is a pastel red stripe, yellow belly, DG, G stripe, Krypton.
Yeah, that's beautiful. See,
Now the
that's
pastel kind of took some pattern away on the sides. He's actually, the camera can't even like pick him up. It's just whiten him out.
No,
Look how
no.
thick that stripe is, though.
Yeah.
And then you can see what the Krypton's doing in the neck. So that's the pairing that produced this, and that's the girl that I just had out, the red stripe, spot nose, yellow belly, DG. It's also triple het that I had out that was blue. That's the pairing that produced her too.
So you're doing a repeat pairing from the previous.
Pairing.
Okay.
Yep. I most of the time won't repeat. In this case, there's still so much value. If I can add holdback girls, if I can hit the triples again, if I can hit the triple again in a male without pastel, that's a win.
Right.
If I can hit a triple again in a male or a female, I'm happy. I love to get some females in the rack that are at that level of genetics. Triple recessive females in the rack would be perfect.
Right.
But there's also some stuff that I didn't hit in that I thought I would hit that I'd like to see too. Even just some DG Kryptons that look on the level of the first couple DG Kryptons I showed
Right.
would be nice. So,
all right.
That's awesome stuff.
We got about 5 minutes left. If anybody wanted to get a hold of you or purchase an animal from you, where can they get a hold of you at?
yeah, most of the stuff is on Morph Market. However, with waiting for shed testing, actually, I do have a whole bunch of stuff it's not up there at any given time. So if you saw something up there that was close but not exactly what you wanted, I'd say the next best bet is to just DM me on Instagram or something like that, and I'll show you what else is coming down, what's waiting on a test, or what I just haven't listed yet.
And everything's under Reagan Renee Royal Pythons, correct?
Yep.
All right. So with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Actually, hold on. Let's see if Sean has any questions. I'll bring him out real quick. Sean, did you have any questions for Charlie?
You're muted.
Yep, you're muted, buddy. Sean, you're muted, bud.
There he goes.
Better?
There you go.
Hey, yeah, man. So thank you for your service, first of all.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
me and my daughter started doing this stuff right around the same time you were coming around. That's how I knew it was Reagan Renee. And you were Charlie and not Reagan.
Right. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's cool, man. Them snakes you were showing?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you have any questions for him, Sean?
No, but I'd like for him to maybe talk to me about that veteran stuff, that he was talking about earlier.
All right.
Maybe
Definitely.
a little
Well, then,
extra
if we
detail
got
on
any
that.
more questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. You all have a great night.
Thanks for coming on, Charlie.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Charlie.
Thanks, you guys.
It's not a bad gene. I'll say that. It's not a bad gene. Another thing, eggs.
What's up, everybody? This is Big Homie Sean from SJS Exotic.
The mites will not go into that, and that they won't go into it because it's.
So with that, guys, remember with
hard work,
Determination.
Positivity.
your dreams too can become a reality.